Now that we've gone over some of the basics, I will go over aspects of the interface relevant for those in the presenter role. This gives you the ability to share more information, such as voice, video, and media files, without restraint, and is most suitable for an individual presenter or for a group of collaborators working and communicating together. The first thing that I want to show presenters is how to broadcast their voice, as this is often the first thing that people want to do. Sharing your voice is easy. Just press the Talk button, located at the bottom of the interface beside the Status Options menu. Pressing Talk will allow you to communicate using push-to-talk, meaning you would have to hold the button down anytime you want to speak to the room. To go into a hands-free mode, just press the lock icon to the right of the Talk button. And finally, observe that there is a small drop-down icon to the right of the lock icon. This menu will, among other things, allow you to quickly change your microphone sensitivity level through the low, medium, and high volume options. Next, let's take a look at broadcasting your camera. To do this, you will need to use the Camera and Voice pod. Look towards the bottom left of the Camera and Voice pod and you will find a small button. If you hover over the button with your cursor, then a tooltip will pop up saying, Start my camera and voice. Go ahead and click on this button. Assuming your camera is set up correctly, you should see your broadcast video from inside the Camera and Voice pod. Once you've activated your camera, you can pause and start your video broadcast by toggling the camera button, which has replaced the original Start My Camera and Voice button. You can also deactivate your camera and your voice by pressing the Stop button. You also have some options that allow you to adjust the video transmission. In the bottom right of this pod, you will see a Pod Options button. This allows you to adjust the orientation of the captured image, as well as the quality of the image. You can select slow images, which requires the least bandwidth, all the way to high bandwidth, which is the highest quality setting. You may need to play around with these to determine which works best for your scenario. The last pod we'll look at is the Share pod. This pod, as you might expect, allows you to share various forms of media with everyone else in the room. There are three primary ways to share. You can either share your computer screen, media files, like PowerPoint presentations, PDFs, images, etc., or a digital whiteboard. And let's take a look at each of these. First, I'll cover how to share media files. To do this, we'll go to the Share pod and find where it says, What do you want to share? Click on Documents, select from My Computer. This will allow you to upload a variety of document types. You can upload PowerPoint files, PDF files, JPEG images, MP3 audio files, Flash SWF files, and Flash video files. For now, I will choose a PowerPoint presentation. Once you have selected your file, click Open. In order to display any kind of media in a meeting share pod, the file first has to be converted into something Flash compatible. This may take a couple of seconds or minutes depending on the size of the file you have chosen. This is one reason why I recommend that individuals have any files that they want to share uploaded before the actual meeting starts. Once the file has been uploaded and converted, you should see it inside of your SharePod. Since I've uploaded a PowerPoint presentation, the SharePod now has some extra buttons specific to navigating PowerPoint slides. Along the bottom left of the SharePod, you will notice that I have a back, forward, and sidebar button. This allows me to navigate through the presentation, and everyone watching follows along with what I am seeing in my meeting screen. Opening up the sidebar, I can even jump to specific slides or look at my speaker notes, which have been imported from PowerPoint, and no one else will see anything but the slide. I'll go ahead and turn the sidebar off for now. There are also a couple of visual communication tools that you can use when sharing any kind of visual files, such as a PowerPoint. These tools can be seen in the bottom right area of the SharePod. They are the Pointer tool and the Whiteboard Overlay tool. If I click on the Pointer tool button, then I will be able to click anywhere in the SharePod to draw attention to a specific area of the document, and everyone will see that pointer. I can then turn the Pointer tool off by clicking the button again. If I turn on the Whiteboard Overlay, then I will be given a set of tools that I can use in order to make annotations on top of the file which I am sharing. These tools are identical to the tools that you are given when you choose to share a whiteboard. You have a pencil, marker, line, shape, text, and stamp tool. These tools can be used in conjunction to simulate a whiteboard or smartboard that you might use in a live environment. Several of the tools have their own options, which display to the bottom left of the tool menu. You can customize these options as you use the tools. I encourage you to play around with these on your own to get used to them if you wish to use them in your meeting. As I said earlier, right now everyone in the meeting is seeing what I see, but I can change that by clicking on the Sync button, which is currently activated. This will deactivate sync mode, which will allow everyone in the meeting to view the document for themselves. This means they can navigate through slides, open up the sidebar, and look at whatever part of the document they wish. This is useful for collaborative environments. If I need to retake control, I can simply click on the Sync button again to reactivate sync mode. Now let's take a look at some other things we can share. If I want to switch to a different document in the Share pod, then I can do so in one of two ways. I can click on Stop Sharing, which will remove any document and take me back to the opening share screen. Or I can click on the Share drop-down menu, which will allow me to upload a new document without going back to the blank window. This time, I'll upload a PDF document. Once my PDF document has been uploaded and converted, you may notice that I now have several tools that you would find in a PDF viewing application. I can navigate between pages either by pressing the back or forward arrows, or I can type in the exact page that I wish to view. I can also zoom into the document using the zoom slider or by typing a percentage value into the zoom % input box. Along those lines, I can also quickly zoom in to fit the width of the page in my share window just by clicking the Fit Width button, or fit the entire page in the window by pressing the Fit Page button. Lastly, you can rotate the document clockwise and counterclockwise using these two buttons. Also notice that at the bottom of the Share pod, I still have the ability to use the Pointer tool, Whiteboard Overlay, and Sync options. These tools will be available whenever you share media files of a visual nature. Next, I will move on to sharing your desktop screen. This can be very useful in a variety of situations when you need to show something on your screen that you couldn't otherwise upload or display inside of Adobe Connect. I'll first click Stop Sharing to get rid of this PDF document, and then I'll click on My Computer Screen from the middle of the Share pod. This will bring up a dialog box. You have a few options with regard to sharing your screen. You can show your desktop, which will display everything on your computer screen. Or you can limit the sharing to a specific application, which will allow you to show anything that happens within a particular application running on your computer. And lastly, you can share a specific window, which will only share one open window from your computer at a time. I typically recommend that users just go ahead and choose desktop because this gives you the most freedom. But if you're concerned about users seeing something that you don't want to share, then you may want to be more specific. Since I have multiple monitors connected to my computer, it will allow me to choose which one I want to use. Once you have made your selection, click Share. The meeting window will be minimized and you will be returned to whatever you were doing prior to entering the Adobe Connect meeting. You should also notice that an Adobe Connect icon has deposited itself into your system tray. You can now browse a website, demonstrate how to use a specific application, or do anything else that you could do on your computer screen. Sharing your computer screen is just like sharing live video, so keep in mind that this will eat up a lot of bandwidth and may cause trouble for users with slower connection speeds. If you want to stop sharing your screen or make modifications to what you are sharing, you can go to your system tray and click on the Adobe Connect icon. From the meeting that pops up, I'm going to click Stop Screen Sharing, which will automatically take me back to my meeting window. If you can't see the icon in your system tray, or maybe you're using a different operating system, you can always go back to your meeting window and then click Stop Sharing from the Share pod. Lastly, we have the whiteboards. Click on Whiteboards, Whiteboard. This opens up a blank white screen which allows you to use the same tools that I mentioned earlier from the Whiteboard Overlay. To open up those tools, go to the bottom right of the screen and click on the Whiteboard Tools button. The only difference in this mode is that you can have multiple whiteboards at once. I can make some notes on this board and then go over to the bottom left of the window and click on the right arrow to move on to a new board. I could then come back later if I needed to, or create yet another board. I'll go ahead and click Stop Sharing now that I'm done playing around with the whiteboards. There are other pods and features that presenters can take advantage of inside Connect, but your meeting host will have to make them available to you. What I have covered will get you through the vast majority of situations, but if you have questions that have been left unanswered, please send them to your meeting host, and they will be happy to help you out. We've now covered most of the things that you're going to need to know as a participant or presenter. All that you have left to do now is to go out and get involved in your own meeting. Thanks for watching this video series, and good luck.